Assalamu Alaikum Family. This is Maryam Alima, and welcome back to another episode of What Do You Know About Islam? So, it has again been a very long time since I've been with the family, but that's neither here nor there. By Allah's grace, we are back to finish the reading of How to Eat to Live, Book 1, and inshallah, if permitted, we will read book 2 as well because this is pertinent information that is needed. It is from God in person, the Master Prophet Muhammad, so it's for our best. I want to start off by greeting you all in the greeting words of peace again, in the words of Assalamu Alaikum in our original tongue, which means peace be unto you. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Devi Fraud Muhammad, to whom praises forever due. I further bear witness that he rose the exalted Christ, the Mahdi, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and with their two minds, they are guiding the Messiah in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And it is in their three great names that I greet you again in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Very thankful to be back with you all. I really, really am. First things first, we're going to address a question from a viewer, and I thank Sister Linda Copeland for her questions. If there are ever any questions, I please, if you're listening on say Google or Spotify or Anchor app, go to my YouTube page. It's just Maryam Alima. I think it's my whole name actually, Maryam Alima Warif, and just go to the corresponding, you really can do it on any Maryam Alima, what do you know about Islam video, and just ask the question because it'll pop up, it'll be the newest question, and I will be happy to answer it. So I want to go ahead and address Sister Linda Copeland Yonis' question. Can you speak on if when you buy milk, you only buy the milk that shows the hole on the carton? I remember my old How to Eat to Live had it in there, but in my newest one, I don't see it. So, Sister Linda, I believe that you're speaking about what the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad touches on page 50. It doesn't say anything about the carton saying whole milk, but I will read what he has about whole milk. Page 50. Whole milk that is clear of TB, which is tuberculosis, germs, is best for us to drink. But if we cannot get whole milk, we can drink the milk that the dairies have, but we should boil it at a certain temperature in order to kill that problem germ. Drink plenty of milk and eat butter instead of so much of this artificial butter made of vegetable fat. And you will have better health. Vegetable fat, some soybeans, which we know is not for human consumption. So to that, if you are able to be in the vicinity of getting your milk from a local dairy farmer that you know does not use any type of harmful medicines or are injecting their cows or goats or anything with anything that will be harmful to you and them, then you can trust that milk to be free of impurities, and you can drink that milk as is. Now, if you have to get milk from the grocery store, then that would be milk that you would boil. And right now, in this time of pestilence, it has been said that they are injecting animals with the COVID vaccine. So it is imperative that if you're buying milk in general that is not from a dairy that you know of, that you should boil that milk in order to strive to kill anything that has been put into the animal that will be left in the milk. Now, there is a milk that is on the market that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given a thumbs up, so to speak. Kelowna Milk. I find it in my local Sprouts supermarket, and it is an Amish milk, and it has the cream on top. It's non-homogenized, non-pasteurized, and so I enjoy that milk. I don't drink milk, but I use milk a lot in things that I cook and bake. So I do need milk. I actually have 2 of those in the freezer as we speak. So again, that's Kelowna Milk, Kalona, It's a orange type of I want to say packaging because it's not a packaging, but a orange seal on it. I can't think of the word. Wrap. It's wrapped in orange and it says Kelowna. So anyway, yes, to pick back up on our reading, we're starting with page 51. Food can be life or death. We can shorten and destroy our lives by the way we prepare and cook the food we eat. Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that all of our food, not including fruits, should be cooked and cooked until thoroughly done. It should be seasoned with salt where necessary. The food we eat should not be poisonous food, such as the flesh of swine and of wild animals, birds, and beasts. We should not eat fish that weighs more than 50 pounds. Water scavengers in the form of the fish family and other water animals of that kind. As we know, there is much animal life taken as food from water today that we should not eat. The believers of Islam should be aware and not eat such foods. In cooking your food, be sure that you cook it thoroughly, but not to the point where it loses its taste. Safeguard your delicate stomach that has to digest all that you eat by not overburdening it with trying to digest half-cooked food or raw food and the acid gases from such foods. This is what hastens the doctor to your bedside, and after that, the undertaker, and after that, the gravedigger. Remember, we kill ourselves by what we eat and how we eat it. Just as food is our source of life, it is also our source of death. As God has taught me, food keeps us here and food takes us away. For long life, take long intervals between your meals and do not eat over one meal a day. How to live more than 100 years. Allah God has taught me in the person of Master Farad Muhammad how to eat to live, so that I also may teach you. He desires to extend our lives from a short span, averaging 62 years, to a span of 1,000 years, or for as long as we desire to live. He said there is no set time for us to die. We kill ourselves daily by means of what we think, what we eat, and what we drink. Think about it, and you will agree that we kill ourselves. As I said in an earlier chapter, How to Eat to Live, there is no way of prolonging life except by being careful, watching and examining what we put into our bodies to sustain life, and the regularity of our eating and drinking habits. We have been taught what to eat and what to drink by a people, the white race, who has never obeyed the law or religion of Allah God. These rules Allah God gave Moses' people in the 10 Commandments for their good, clear as a mirror, law and guidance, which they should not forget. However, they kept none of this. Everything that Allah said, thou shalt not do, they have ignored and said, thou shalt do. Therefore, the Christian race is no example or guide for one who seeks to obey the law of Allah God, for God now threatens to remove them from the planet Earth. If they would stop deceiving the people, making them believe they are what they are not, and trying to change the natural religion of Allah God into the unnatural, which is false, their doom probably could be delayed. There is a sect among them whose members call themselves Orthodox Jews, a few who still try to follow the 10 Commandments given to them through Moses. These are wiser, more skillful than the Christians. How to eat to live? Allah God said to me, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, that we who believe in him as our God and Savior should eat but one meal a day, once every 24 hours. Eat nothing between meals, not even candy, fruit, or anything which would start the stomach digestive processes. In this way, our eating of the proper foods and drinks at the proper time would extend our life to 140 years. This would protect us from sickness. He said, if we would start our infants eating one meal a day, as soon as they are able to partake of solid foods, It will enable them to live to an age of 240 years. I then asked him, how about eating once every 48 hours? He said to me, you would be ill only one day out of 4 or 5 years. I asked him, what was the cure for that one day of illness? He said, fast 3 days and you will be all right. I asked him, what about eating one meal every 3 days? He said, you will never be sick if you eat once every 72 hours. This is about 2 meals every 6 days, which would extend our lifespan to 1,000 years, for there is no poison from the previous meal 3 days ago, which has enough power to do you any harm. The fast destroys the accumulation of food poison. The body is made up of water, chemicals, stone, metals, vegetation, and air. All that is in the earth is in some form in our bodies, and you have no birth record of the earth. Although there is a record, you probably do not have it. It is a very old earth. It is not, as you have been made to believe, only 6,000 years old. It is more than 6 trillion years old, and it will be here for a long, long time yet. What comes out of it, such as life, cannot live as long as the earth itself, but it can be made to live a very long time if carefully nursed according to its nature, as you see and scientists teach you the long life of the California redwood tree, Sequoia sempervirens. It's Latin, or sempervirens. The California redwood tree, the sequoia. There is mention in the Bible of Allah God, a saying that his people's life will be as the tree. There is an oak in Arabia under which they claim Abraham met God that is still alive today. Allah God never intended the righteous lives should be cut short of 100 years on this earth. I have experience in living and eating according to the way he taught me for a while, and I found it one of the happiest and most peaceful ways of which I ever dreamed. I began with eating 1 meal a day and forced my family to do the same for several years until I was picked up and sent to prison for teaching Islam in 1942. Of course, the government said they sent me up for failing to register. That really was not the reason, for I did not come under the draft law at that time. Some of my followers, 65 years old, were sent to prison at the same time. Persons of such an age were not desired by the War Department. While in prison, the Christians made it hard for us to live as we had been. They deliberately put swine, or the essence of swine, in everything, and the assistant warden made mock of it when I told him my followers lived on nothing but bread to avoid swine. He said that even the bread had swine in it. We used to make a meal of dry, baked white potatoes. We had it hard, and all of my followers now in prison still have it hard. All those converted to Islam in prison at present suffer in order to avoid eating the divinely prohibited flesh of the swine. And all that God said, thou shalt not do, they said, thou shalt do. You who read this book know the Christians are the great false teachers of God, who care nothing for Allah God's law. Since returning from prison, it has been hard for me to adjust my eating habits. For many days in prison, we had to eat 2 or 3 times a day in order to make up for the 1 meal a day through trying to avoid eating the divinely prohibited flesh of the swine. This caused me and the others illness after we had cleansed our stomachs of bad food and had begun to eat at the proper time. When we were eating the right food in the right way, we had no doctor bills and no medical bills. There were no medicines to be found in our medicine cabinets. However, as soon as we changed and began to eat between meals, 24 hours, we began to call on the doctor and his drugs, and it brought about one complaint after another. I would never have suffered today from bronchial asthma if I had not disobeyed the law of the right foods to eat. Now I am on the way back to try to adjust my life according to the way Allah God taught me. I experienced eating once a day for several years, and I experienced eating once every 2 days for a long time. Then I experienced eating one meal every 3 days, twice a week. I never had any symptoms of disease or sickness when I was eating once every 48 hours and once every 3 days. With this method, you feel as though you never were sick in all of your life, even if you are 100 years old. Nothing shortens our lives but our foolish selves. Proper food for body and mind equals good health. On the coming of God, according to the Bible and the Holy Quran, He began to create a people that must and will enjoy a long life and good health. They will not suffer sickness or grief and sorrow. They will live lives of complete happiness. The earth is full of food, but good health cannot enter our bodies until we have the proper food in the body and the proper food for thought. If we do not have the proper food for our way of thinking, we still cannot enjoy peace, good health, joy, and gladness of heart. We can eat the best food. We can take fast for 9 days or for 20 or 30 days if we want to. And we will still suffer if we do not feed the brain with the right food. These two bodies, the brain and the digestive tract, have much in common with one another. Whatever hurts one hurts the other. We must treat both well. The Bible teaches you that God gave the dead more life. He comes to give you more life and an abundance of life. How can He do that for us unless we help ourselves to the assistance He is helping us to seek? We must help ourselves in this way to prolong our lives. Obey and do all that Allah bids us. Think the way He thinks, the thoughts of good. Seek to be like Him, both physically and mentally. As the Holy Quran teaches us, when we have submitted ourselves entirely to the will of God, He then guides us into His path, His way of life. And then when we come to enjoy the paradise of life in these words of the Holy Quran, O soul that